ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is a pro wrestler, a NASCAR fan, something I thought I'd never say in an intro, but there you go. He says it how it is. Please give it up for Cole BOHANNON. How you doing today, mate? You all good?
Doing well. It's good to see you, brother. Thank you for having me on here.
No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. I've watched an interview that you previously done, so I thought I've got to have you on because I actually really enjoyed what you said. Thought you got a good mind for the business, and I thought you're very interesting. So I want to mix up a little bit, and I know you're not shy, so I'm just going to ask you the first question, and I'm going to say, I'd like to ask you basically, if there's one thing that you could change about the business, if you could, what would you change?
Yes, the being open-minded. There's a lot of organizations out there that are very close-minded. They're looking for one kind of demographic or one stereotypical pro wrestler. One thing I've learned in this industry, just the short time I've been here, 2 years, matter of fact, is there's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of talent, all sizes, all ages, all colors, all religions. There's a lot out there, but only a few select really get chosen. And I understand that we do this at a high level. In order to reach the pinnacle, you have to stand out. But having an open mind and realizing there's more than what meets the eye, such as like an Eddie Kingston. If I saw him in the street, I would never expect in a million years he was a pro wrestler until he got a microphone in his hand.
Yeah.
And then he was able to step into the ring. So other than that, I think pro wrestling's in a very healthy state right now.
Yeah.
We're seeing organizations and promotions working together that maybe we have never dreamed of happening. We're seeing organizations become damn near mainstream that are just indie promotions that are daring to do different, like AGCW. You got MLW right there, which is so underrated and not as known because they don't have that big TV deal where a lot of the names that you know now are coming from an MLW. I think the wrestling organization or wrestling as an industry is in a great place right now.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with you at all. I think as well, with the aftermath of speaking out, as we were able to sort of clear some of the bad names out and sort of give more opportunities to those that actually deserve it. So yeah, I think wrestling is in a good place. There's a lot to criticize still, but that's just, we're always going to moan and find things to sort of pick apart.
For sure. You can't expect it to be perfect.
No.
The industry's just like life. Every day's a learning experience.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it, mate. That is. When did you become a wrestling fan, by the way? What was your first wrestling-related memory?
So my latest memory is actually watching, I don't know the exact show, but it was a Saturday night with my father, a Friday or Saturday night in early 90s, 93, 94. I was 3 or 4 years old at that time. And just watching, I remember I was watching Undertaker in a mall or something like that, and he was chasing somebody. He was on top of an escalator, and something like that just stuck in my head. And this is
Triple H, yeah.
Yes, yep.
Tombstone's on the actual escalator. That's fucking mental.
Yeah. This is pre-Attitude Era. We're still in the golden era. That is my first memory of professional wrestling. And I think it was all downhill from there. At an early age, I discovered ECW as like a 6 or 7 year old, which probably wasn't the best thing in the world. But I came up with a mindset that wrestling was as real as it was in my head. And I loved that. Wrestling was a getaway from reality for me. It was a way for me to break away from, as a child, your everyday quote unquote worries, if you have any as a kid. But it was a breakaway, and I was able to get just engulfed into pro wrestling as a child. And I'm happy to say that I grew up as a wrestling fan. I didn't become a wrestling fan in my teen years or 20s. I had an awesome opportunity to become a wrestling fan from my earliest days of kindergarten.
pretty much have been a lifelong fan,
Oh yes.
pretty much
Oh,
since you could actually start remembering things.
yeah. I mean, I man, three Oreos in a bowl with a glass of milk, watching some pro wrestling on a Friday or Saturday night. That was my childhood.
As an adult, that sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, yeah, it still is. Instead of three, it's 3 rows.
Give me that, mate, instead of like going out and having a hangover.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were some of your favourites growing up, by the way? Like, I don't know, maybe I've got a feeling just because you do the stunner, Austin.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. I like to tell people that I was raised by Stone Cold Steve Austin. I probably spent more time in front of him than I did my actual parents. Of course, Stone Cold was a huge part of my childhood. My walls were draped with Stone Cold and Michael Jordan posters. That was my walls in my bedrooms growing up.
Yeah.
Stone Cold's the reason why I got suspended several times before I even reached middle school.
What, flipping people off, giving them
flipping people off, clotheslining kids off their desks, like stupid shit I shouldn't be doing. Thanks to, Chris Jericho teaching me how to do the walls of Jericho by 5th grade and getting suspended for doing I was not a good kid because of like when they used to put out those little messages.
Dude, try this at home. It's like, I'm
the reason why they're putting it out. Yeah, I'm the reason why. To the point where I had the styrofoam strapped Smoke and Skull belt that at that time you could buy at Walmart for like $40 or something like that. I used to take that to school. And I was a pain in the ass. And walking home from school one day, I popped a kid over the head with it, and actually he started bleeding. And to this day, I couldn't get suspended because I wasn't on school grounds. But to this day, he and I are actually really good friends, and we talk about that time often.
Did you become good friends after
that? Yeah, because we were all, man, I'm from a small town in Western New York is where I was raised my adolescence years before I moved to Memphis. Yeah. And I mean, when I say small town, I mean a graduation class of 45, 50 kids, not many. And most of the boys were wrestling fans. And if they weren't wrestling fans, they were the jocks that only watched like baseball and football. They didn't care about wrestling. But us that were wrestling fans, we all stuck together, and we still do. So Stone Cold was a huge inspiration as a kid. I'll tell you what, I thought I was a true badass at the age of like 11, listening to My Way for the promo of WrestleMania 17 of Rock vs. Austin.
Special.
That was the best video montage ever put together. Like, I was ready to bust some heads in 6th grade or whatever the hell that was.
Oh, man.
They had the memories of that. That's what keeps me going. But as a kid, it was Stone Cold. Now, your Eddie Kingstons, your Sammy Callahans, your John Moxleys.
I can absolutely see these names. I can see they're inspiring you. Like, I can see it definitely where you are.
It's the guys that march to the beat of their own drum, that did things their way, maybe had a chip on their shoulder, and wasn't exactly a yes man. Another one being Bully Ray. I've learned so much from that man just listening to Busted Open for the past 5 years. And Busted Open, if you're familiar with the show, I found that show about 5 years ago, and it helped me inspire to be a pro wrestler. Always being a fan, but that was one of the things that inspired me, was listening to Bully, listening to psychology, thinking, man, this sounds like something I want to do, and I want to get back to an industry and be in a position that a Bully Ray is at down the road, be able to hand down knowledge.
I love that, man. I've never heard anyone say that a podcast, it's a radio show, whatever you want to call it, but just the audio base and sort of hearing Bully Ray speak about the business. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not his biggest fan, but I respect what he's done in the business. Absolutely. But I've never heard that before. Someone goes, oh, that's actually inspired me. Some people go, this match inspired me, or I wanted to go to wrestling school and I knew it since I was a kid. Where is it that you trained? Was that in the pandemic? Because you said 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I started during the pandemic.
That's mental.
Hit. I'm a business owner. That's what I do in my spare time. I run a business, and my business was flourishing to the point where I had some extra cash, and I could maybe afford some to put to aside to go to a wrestling school. And my cousin, his name is Blaine Rage. He's been an independent veteran for over 20 years here in the state of Florida. I talked to him a couple years prior about it, and it was always just kind of in the back of his head, or it was never taken seriously. And then in 2019, I mentioned it to him. I talked to the main promoter at Continental Championship Wrestling,
Mhm.
and we talked for a little bit, but it kind of just fell to the wayside in 2019, and I didn't touch on it again until 2020. When I get a hold of my cousin and he's like, "Oh yeah, that wrestling promotion, they just opened up a new location, hosting classes. I think it's time for you to do this." And I walked in with a check and said, "Here's my money. I want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a pro wrestler. I wanted to be a manager because one of the things that I pride myself on is my ability to speak and get my voice out
Mm.
for the voiceless, maybe for those that aren't as well on the microphone, but also to connect to a crowd." And I came in wanting to be a manager, and my cousin basically said, "Man, fuck that! Like you're 6 foot 220. Who the hell are you as a manager? Um, be a worker, be a worker." And he's like, "If you can't do it, you can't do it." So
Yeah.
I walked in and I was like, I guess I would like to manage, but let's try this worker thing. Let's try being a pro wrestler first. And if I don't make it, I told you so. And here I am now. I'm glad I'm not a manager.
Mm.
Fuck that. I love being able to not only tell a story on a microphone, but tell it in the middle of the ring, and grab the attention of an audience. Either you like me or you hate me. I'm not one of those. I guess I'm just not one of those wrestlers that's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Um, you
You're like
either
Marmite. You either love you or hate you.
exactly. You either you like me because of what I do in the ring is different,
Mhm.
or you hate me because of it. Either way, you end up respecting it by the time the bell rings.
There is one thing I think you just mentioned that you do like to talk during your matches, and oh my god, I was in stitches. It's when I think some fans shouting. I can't remember if they shouted, but I remember what you replied with. Your parents or cousins, shut up. It pops me big time. I was in stitches. I mean, that sort of humor is my sort of that's my love it. I mean, that sort of things. That do you plan that sort of response, or do you just literally think, oh, okay, I'm just going to say it. I don't care what the
It kind
consequences
of
are.
comes off the Yeah, it kind of comes off the top of my head. I
Yeah.
know my hard limits. I respect the organization. I know my hard limits.
Hmm.
What not to say, but that's my personality. I grew up in a household where if you were loved, you were harassed. I had a father that had a firm grip around the back of my neck, and harassed in a good way. He should, it was tough love. If he didn't like you, he didn't mention you. He didn't talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's the way I am. I connect with the crowd. I know my audience. I know Jacksonville, Florida. You're either poor or your parents are, related. So it's not hard for me to come out there and point someone out and be like, "Hey, your parents met at a family reunion." Like it's not that hard. And it gets to them because they hate it when I'm right. And it makes me get under their skin even more.
Yeah.
And that's my job, because if I look at it this way, if you're not trying to throw something at me by the time I'm leaving that ring, then my job isn't complete.
Oh, it just cracked me up. I mean, like, I can understand why they're pissed off, but for me, like, I always, probably since early in my adult life, I've always loved heels. So like, hearing that you doing that just fucking made me laugh, and just other things as well. Just literally like not giving a fuck. Not, it didn't throw you off either, because I knew you're still early in your career. So I can imagine that sometimes throws people off, but it probably encourages you more in a way if they're just
It
giving you
does,
abuse.
I had the opportunity. The first time I stepped into the ring in front of a crowd was a late pandemic, when we were just putting on shows for family and friends.
Mhm.
And when I say family or friends, only about 20-25 people, but it felt like 1,000. So I wanted to challenge myself, and the first thing I said to the booker was, "Put the microphone in my hand and let me introduce these people to who I am." And he gave me that opportunity, and I'm thankful for that, because the first time anybody saw Cole Bohannon was with a microphone in my hand, and I was able to garner a reaction that I hoped to garner. And I was really happy about it. And now it's to the point when we do our house shows, I have what are called show day shirts. I have a different shirt every time. The last one, I had a picture of Casey Anthony, and it said "World's Best Mom." If you don't know who Casey Anthony is, I would suggest Googling her. She's probably the most famous mother in the state of Florida. She and OJ are kind of on the same page.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'll let the listeners Google it. I'm not going to explain.
yeah,
I'll let
yeah.
them. I
I
love those
you
documentaries.
you can kind of call it cheap heat, but that also shows my
Clever.
personality.
Oh yeah, man. Like you're not saying yourself. I mean, just a t-shirt.
Yeah. Exactly. Take it how you want.
Love that, man. Oh, I was going to ask, by the way. You said about they wanted you to bring you as the manager first. You sort of recommended to be a manager. Was there any names thrown at you if you were to become a manager, or sort of any gimmicks?
No, I always had gimmicks in my head though.
Hmm.
I was that guy in school that I was a leader if I liked it or not because I had that mentality.
Yeah.
I'm used to speaking up. And I never really had it in my head of a name. Honestly, all that went out the window the first day I stepped into the ring. Once I hit the ring, I started hitting the ropes. I knew the days of management were going to be behind me because I fell in love with it. At no point was I ever thinking I'm going to be a natural at this because I'm not. A lot of the things that I do, I'm not natural at. I have to learn and adapt.
Yeah.
I didn't walk in there hitting the ropes, doing push-ups, moonsaults, front flips. That wasn't me. I'm very detail oriented, so it takes.
What
time.
were some of your biggest challenges then? Just following up on what you're saying in terms of
Believe it or not,
in.
Yeah, believe it or not, doing a front flip was one of my biggest challenges.
Yeah.
As a kid, I did it so much on trampolines and stuff like that. It's nothing to you, but almost like 15, 16 years later, haven't moved my body like that before. Reteaching my body to flip over. That it was so weird to the point where I ended up getting a rib injury from landing on my side. I had cartilage torn, contusions, bruising, where I was on the sidelines for 2.5, 3 weeks. But during that time, I was still showing up to training sessions, taking mental notes and watching. And once I was healed enough to get back in the ring, it was a whole new me. And I was able to get over those boundary or those barricades. But that was my biggest thing. And now pro wrestling's such a learning experience every time I'm in the ring, either it's a training session or if it's a show, more than just the physicality, the mental side of it. The physicality that will come. It's the mental side that makes you stand with that minority of guys that really get it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you have explained that because I think listeners would want to hear. I mean, sometimes when I ask about wrestling school, some people don't really go in detail. It's quite rare, and I'm glad you have with the injuries, even just a front flip, just like something that sounds simple is actually quite difficult in terms of doing it over and over and over. The back bumps over and you know what I mean? And the fact that your body has got used to that. So I'm sort of glad that you went in a bit of detail about that. As I can see in the background, and I've had Miles Blackwell as a guest, and I know he's associated with CCW. I want to ask you personally, is CCW the place that you would call the wrestling home?
So a little bit of my background with CCW.
Want to hear?
Again, I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't knock on doors and walk in and shake hands. I kick down doors and ask, where do I go? Give me a paycheck and I leave. CCW wasn't the most, they didn't welcome me with open arms. As soon as I walked in, they started sticking the cards against me. As a guy that is fresh to the business, they put me up against my cousin, who was a 20-year veteran. They put me up against Chris Turner, who's a 30-year veteran. They put me up against Mike Anthony, who's a multiple-time champion. They tried to push me out. That they didn't want me there. But now here we are where I have really busted my ass, and I showed that no matter what you throw at me, I'm hitting it out of the park. I have called it my home, but I've said it since day one. And another thing that the back office isn't happy about, I'm not a guy that starts training at the age of 30 to do this for 20 years if I'm lucky to only work for one promotion for the rest of my life, and albeit an indie promotion. I have dreams of going out and working all over the country, in different countries if the road leads
England,
to that. England, well, yeah, absolutely. England, Japan, even Mexico if they don't try to kill me. Whatever it might
comments
be.
like that, if you can learn that in like Spanish, like
yeah, El Don Kilo, like whatever. I can't speak a lick of English, but so I have those dreams, and I've been very upfront with the front office about that, and they're not a big fan of a guy coming in and saying, "Hey, I don't plan on staying here long." And I understand that. I do, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to, completely work my ass off for
Yeah.
this. I mean, I've already, done some stuff for Dory Funk. I had the awesome opportunity working my cousin at a show for Dory Funk, and that just kind of lit that fire as well. But it also made me work harder with CCW,
Yeah.
and just strive to be the best that I can.
I absolutely respect that. Just because rather someone that is saying, I'm going to be here till the day you close, till the day you die, till the end, and then fuck off after like 2 years, you're just saying, look, I'm going to be here, I'll give the effort, but I also, want to go further. I understand that, but I understand where they're coming from as well. It's just two sides.
Oh, for sure. And I'm a very upfront person. I'm not going, it's kind of like if you start a new job and you don't want to tell them, hey, I'm going to retire here at the age of 65. That's my plan. Don't do that. Yeah, you don't do that. You don't want to blow smoke, because I feel like the way you gain respect is honesty.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. And I've learned sometimes that honesty comes with repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you can never say is that I lied to you, that I went behind your back. You can't say that. And the office might get mad that I do shows elsewhere, but I'm telling them that I am. They know that I'm doing it. They have the opportunity to support me. If they don't support me, that's their problem. Is it coming with repercussions? Sure, I've already felt them. But I'm still there. I'm kicking ass. I'm taking names. And I have a big match coming up Saturday at Stampede. And I'm looking to put on the best show that I can at that match.
And who you faced off against, and what can your opponent expect?
I'm going up against, I'm going up against Paul Roberts. A little backstory: several months ago, Paul Roberts and I were teamed up randomly to challenge for the tag team champions. And this was, again, I feel like a way to drive me out, because Paul Roberts is a mixture of Little Dicky and Screech put together, including their mentalities. So, how am I supposed to win a championship handicapped, literally and figuratively? Like I can't. And it was a absolute shit show. It was a 2-on-1, and I lost, of course. So Paul kind of has taken offense of it, that I blamed that loss on him. So we actually faced off in the Collective Bounty Championship we just had last month in the first round, and I dropped him on his chin and went on to the second round, and then got caught off guard by the mild thing like Mike Anthony, but that's for a different story. But Paul, again, he feels like that he has what it takes to beat Cole Bohannon. He's called the metalhead Paul Roberts. He's one of those guys that are just like, yeah, rock on all the damn time, where his level is at 100%. He walks in the ring and he has it cranked all the way up already. And I know how to take advantage of that, but he thinks that level is going to it's going to slow down Cole Bohannon, and I'm gonna prove him different at Stampede this Saturday.
Nice, man, nice. No, I felt that just there, and just some of the explanation was quite funny. But I'm on your side. Don't worry, I'm on your side, mate.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, and I've never asked this on the show before, but I think I'm going to get some funny answers from you. What are some of your unpopular wrestling opinions?
Unpopular wrestling opinions. Oh shoot.
On the spot. Never asked anyone this before, but I think with you, I'm going to get some good answers.
Yeah. Let's see. Unpopular wrestling. All right. There's a lot of fans that absolutely suck, and we hate your fucking chants, especially the Fight Forever chants, because we just want to go home and collect paychecks. After it's all said and done, we don't want to fight forever for you people. You can't afford that ticket. So please stop chanting Fight Forever. Our bodies can't handle that bullshit. Another unpopular opinion. I actually like Cody Rhodes' tattoo. It's
brave man to say that.
It makes him stand out. Cody.
It stands out, of course.
Yeah,
it certainly does.
He's trying to make himself stand out. And I guess another one would, let's see here. I'm trying to get away from the AEW side of it, because it's really easy for me to go after AEW with them being newer. So if I were to go after the crisp one, but I don't know if they're really that unpopular. Vince McMahon needs to step down. Is that unpopular?
No, that's quite popular these days.
Okay.
The first two you said, yeah, I mean the Cody Rhodes neck tattoo. Jesus.
Triple H was better with hair. Shawn Michaels looks like a character from Grand Theft Auto.
That's not unpopular, but that's just fucking spot on.
Yeah. You know, and I guess, you know, the other unpopular one is I guess people think, oh, here we go. People thinking that house shows are a waste of time. Go to a fucking house show. Just because it's not Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, Friday Night Rampage, go to a house show. I don't know if WWE is doing it right now. I think they're having house shows. I don't know.
They are, yeah. Not as much, but they are still.
Some of the most fun I've ever had a house show as a fan, or most fun I've had at a show as a fan was a house show, because there's less pressure. There's more fan interaction.
Yeah.
You get to bullshit more. That's like our house shows are our studio tapings. I get to wear the shirts that say, you know, with a picture of O.J. Simpson with a box of Wheaties that says serial killer. I get to wear shirts like that. I get to have fun. I get to call out someone I know that's their girlfriend in the stands. Like, hey, I'll see you at room 232. I'll bring the $30.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, I get to play around like that. Where when you're in the bigger shows, it's more professional, it's more tight, it's more crisp. You're putting it on for a much larger audience. So go to your house shows. Yeah, you don't have no chance of being on TV. The chances of a title change are slim to none, but they're still busting their ass as much as they would if it was a TV show, and they're going to interact with you more.
Nicely said. I actually agree with you as well about the house shows. First WWE show I went to was a house show. Had a brilliant time. I went to a Raw before, and it was pretty shit, if I'll be brutally honest. So I'm on your
Especially
side.
during the commercial break.
Oh, you got to wait like 3 minutes. Oh, it's just fucking dragged.
Ridiculous.
And then you just see them like just the announcer in the ring and just backstage segments. But it's just not the same watching it on the screen. House shows, match. Right. Short break, match. That's it. And you go home.
Exactly.
Perfect. I actually get to watch wrestling. Brilliant.
Yes.
Can't complain. So for everyone that wants to bum Raw and SmackDown saying they're the superior shows to house shows, I think you're wrong. I'm on your side, but I think most people will say that we're wrong. But I will like to say, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to be professional. So back to the show. Just a few more questions, Cole, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day. We've had a really, really good chat.
Sure.
So what is next for Cole Bohannon? You have mentioned about the upcoming show this weekend. You have mentioned also with CCW that you do want to go higher and other places.
Yeah.
Specifically, where is it that you want to go? Do you have like an end goal?
So I kind of have a 5-year plan in my head. I don't expect this to happen overnight. I'm not coming up in the Nightmare Factory or, you know, the NXT. Unfortunately, I don't have that opportunity. I guess in 5 years, I would love to at least have the opportunity to work with not just a name, but an organization that is known and that I could possibly get out there more. And I'm not just talking about like a WWE or AEW. That's too cliche. I would love to work with an MLW. I would love to work a dark show with NWA or something with Impact.
You can actually say Ring of Honor now. They are coming back.
Yeah.
It just got announced.
Awesome. Okay. That's news to me. Good deal. Work a Ring of Honor then. Something out there that is, I mean, you could say next level. Because where we are at now, this is entry level. You could kind of call it the minor leagues, but there's so much talent in the independent that is not minor. They're major. They just haven't had that opportunity to get their name out there, or they don't have a bloodline that gets them in the door so easily. So I want to travel all over this country. I want to wrestle in different states. When I don't just mean a couple states, I would love to travel all over the United States of America. I would love to, once this whole COVID pandemic starts to really ease up, comfortably go into different countries. I feel like right now, just the way everything is, that's almost impossible to do comfortably.
Sharing it.
Yeah. So, and also just keep on mastering my craft. You're truly no longer green after 5 years of constant wrestling. And I've really learned that because I wrestle with guys that have been doing this for 2-3 years who think they're veterans but couldn't tell a story or read one like Cat in the Hat. They got the moves down, they can do spots, they got the look, but put a microphone in their hand or tell them to have them try to tell a story, and it's Helen Keller trying to read the Bible. It just ain't working. It's pointless.
Come up with some funny stuff, mate.
So it's just
but you are right though. I agree.
Yeah, so I don't ever want to be that person. And I'm going to work these next 5 years to become as big as I can, and we'll see what doors open at that point.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
My name is Michael Martinez, and I'll be appearing on this next episode of the What Do You Call It podcast, and that is undeniable.
Yeah, I heard.
The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.